On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Major Supreme Court case happening. Got some decent chunk of news to cover. Also got a live show coming up in a very short period of time. Doing the Law of One episode, I believe, 1516. This is a really good one. You don't want to miss this one for sure. Live or not live, I mean, I love it having live people who take some questions at the end. All said, though, it's a really beautiful series. I definitely recommend starting at the first one and working your way through it. And you just go in. There's a playlist. You can find it. If not, just, do a search for even Law of One on my channel, and you will find it. All said, a lot to talk about, and some good, fun videos to share as well. Going to start off with Trump kind of telling us his 10-point plan on how he plans to fix this country. And it was weird. It's almost like he gave this speech a while ago, but at the same time, felt like it was recent. I'm not exactly sure, but it seems relevant. Check it out.
It is my plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all, and corruption it is. First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe even possible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong, or at least they must have known. They do nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption, and there are plenty of them. Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy. When possible, we will press criminal charges. Sixth, we will make every Inspector General's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee so they do not become the protectors of the deep state. Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign. Eighth, we will continue the effort launched by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado, as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America, and they really do love America. Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate these companies, and then they want to take jobs from these companies. Doesn't work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma. Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. This is how I will shatter the deep state and restore government that is controlled by the people and for the people. Thank you very much.
Definitely time to take back this country, that's for sure. I think that was back before he became president, but still, good reminder, good place to start. Pretty messed up hack happened at Coinbase. Basically, hackers bribed company owner or company's own employees into doing stuff for them, giving them personal data. They basically bribed people that worked there. That's awesome, right? Just think about how incredible that is. Don't know exactly who got what, if they were going after very specific people or not, but this is certainly concerning and one of the many reasons I don't like a lot of that stuff, but whatever. I mean, everything can be hacked or to some degree, but it's a lot harder to hack a bank. They go to great lengths to make sure that's not possible. People are getting tricked, though, all over the place. Old people giving up information, people phishing, claiming to be someone you know, sending you emails that look legitimate, and then you click on the thing and screw yourself. It's really sad how many of those are out there. Trump is out in Doha. He's doing all sorts of good things for us, but he does confirm a report that I guess Iran is potentially about ready to make a deal. I found this one hard to believe. I was like, I'm glad I saw his words. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Probably read today the story about Iran has sort of agreed to the terms. They're not going to make, I call it in a friendly way, nuclear dust. We're not going to be making any nuclear dust in Iran. And we've been strong. I want them to succeed. I want them to end up being a great country, frankly, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's the only thing. It's very simple. It's not like I have to give you 30 pages worth of details. There's only one sentence. They can't have a nuclear weapon. And I think we're getting close to maybe doing a deal without having to do this. There's two steps. There's a very, very nice step, and there's a violent step. The violence like people haven't seen before. And I hope we're not going to have to do this. I don't want to do the second step. Some people do. Many people do. I don't want to do that step. So we'll see what happens. But we're in very serious negotiations with Iran for long-term peace. And if we do that, it'll be fantastic.
I kind of like how Trump's just like talks tough. Like nobody else has been doing that for a long time, right? Like we will crush you, essentially. I mean, this is the other option. We don't want to do it. We don't want to, but if we have to. Folks, Healthy Home, incredible product. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. STEM Active, it's just one of the many products that I use of theirs that I absolutely love. STEM Active helps your stem cell count increase by naturally through your own body. They're not giving you stem cells. It helps your own body enhance its own stem cell production by 25 to 40%. Stem cells are cells that actually heal other cells. They can become a heart cell, a skin cell, a muscle cell, a joint cell. They can become whatever cell they need to. They're the only cells that can do that. They're kind of androgynous, I like to joke, right? So STEM Active as pills, or you can get the gel. There's a couple ways to get it. Balance is a very powerful product that many women are talking about and are raving about, frankly. It's giving back some of their freedom they feel in some cases. A lot of the changes that happen are hormonal, and this isn't supplementing hormones in any way. Again, that's often dangerous. You want to be very careful about that because when you start taking in hormones, your body stops producing them on its own, and you create sort of a problem that way. That's not what this is doing. Again, this is making your body deal with its problems its proper way. It's helping it from the inside. It's helping it create more of the hormones. There's plant-based stuff. You just put a little, it's transdermal lotion. So you literally just put a little on your wrist. You rub your wrists together. Boom. You're done. Like 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And they're saying they're sleeping better, feeling better. Mood swings aren't quite as severe. Temperature swings aren't quite as severe. We're hearing a lot of really powerful stuff about this product. Again, you want to go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com and get some balance in your life. Amaze is an awesome collagen supplement, one of the best, in fact. It's collagen peptides. It's a liquid, so it gets in your system very, very quickly. And it is, it's how you fix stuff like sagging skin, sore muscles, joint discomfort, lifeless hair, nails that aren't growing, all of these things. It's a powerful product, gets collagen in your body, and it's a very good form of collagen, and it helps. That with the STEM Active. And I'm telling you, you got joint pains, you got arthritis, you got a lot of things. You are going to start to feel better. And in some cases, really better. Something you should definitely look into try. Prime is awesome for energy. You work out, stuff like that. I would highly recommend the Prime. It's a powder. It kicks in very quickly. There's no sort of weird high. You've just got more energy. And frankly, it expands your blood vessels, so it allows your body to do what it does more efficiently. So again, you just got more energy. Very, very cool stuff. And then finally, the STEM Active for pets. It's actually significantly less expensive. Also found out, I think effective today, the 15th. I believe they've changed their pricing. And get this, brought the prices down. Yeah, they've actually lowered the prices a little bit at Healthy Home, which is good to know for your future orders, that's for sure. But STEM Active for your pet, the same thing. It helps enhance the healing that your pet can do. You got a pet that's got some problems, hip dysplasia, arthritis, skin issues, maybe it's had a surgery. These are all the sorts of things that STEM Active for pets actually helps. And they'll start to actually feel better. Granted, it's harder to get a good, solid answer from them, but if you're trying it on yourself first and you're realizing, oh my God, this actually does work, and give it 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I mean, it takes a few weeks, and you will start to notice. And once you do, you'll be like, dang. And then you'll be like, oh, my little pet. And there you go. That's how we make it happen. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Make sure you get your proper healthy choices. Healthy choices lead to healthy lives, and it's really what we've all are trying to work towards these days. Breaking news coming out of the Justice Department. They have consented to release a complete set of all archived January 6 video footage from its prosecutorial database with the court clerk, ensuring its permanent presentation. What I thought was interesting is, again, James Boasberg is the judge that's signing off on this one. Again, this is a good case, basically. Got the FBI giving the information. I'm wondering if there's any way judges can screw with that. I don't trust Boasberg at all now. I mean, because of what he's shown. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens when those files come. They're supposed to be publicly available from the actual kiosk or something to that effect. I forget exactly how. Permits access to the hard drive by visiting the clerk's office. There we go. This is meant to be a placeholder. Steve Miller, I found it through this chick. What's her name? Trish Reagan channel. Pretty good. There were some shorts, but there was like 3 of them I came across, and they were all of Steve Miller. So I just kind of strung them together because I thought that was kind of cooler. And they'll just play like 3 minutes, and you'll get all 3 of them. 2 of them, I think, kind of had to do with the just schooling people, and then the third one, I'm drawing a blank on the third one. Whatever the case is, we'll talk after.
So I want to correct. I hate to do it, Bill, but I got to correct you on every single thing that you said because it was all wrong. First, we won the Supreme Court case 9-0. A district court judge said that the president and his administration have to go into El Salvador and extradite one of their citizens, an El Salvadorian citizen, so that would be kidnapping, that we have to kidnap an El Salvadorian citizen against the will of his government and fly him back to America, which would be an unimaginable act and an invasion of El Salvador's sovereignty. So we appealed to the Supreme Court, and it said clearly, no district court can compel the president to exercise his Article 2 foreign powers in any way whatsoever. DOJ called me after that Supreme Court ruling, and they said, this is amazing. We won this case 9-0. We are in excellent standing here. So this has been portrayed wrong for 72 hours in the media. They said the most a court could ever compel you to do would be to facilitate return, which would basically mean if El Salvador voluntarily sends him back, we wouldn't block him at the airport. We would put him back into ICE detention, and then he would be deported either back to El Salvador or somewhere else. The Supreme Court said that is the most the government can be expected to do. So we won the case handily. The misreporting on this has been atrocious.
Okay,
Secondly,
I appreciate
he was
the
not, no, Bill, it's important. He was not mistakenly sent to El Salvador.
Okay, so do you still
He's
believe
an illegal
he is a
alien
member of
from
MS?
El Salvador. Hold on, this is important. In 2019, he was ordered deported. He has a final removal order from the United States. These are things that no one disputes. Where is he from? El Salvador. Where is he a resident and citizen of? El Salvador. Is he here illegally? Yes. Does he have a deportation order? Yes. Here's the thing. If you are a member of a foreign terrorist organization, you cannot have a withholding order. Since he's in MS-13, there is no withholding order. Furthermore, the gang that he is accused of being persecuted by doesn't exist anymore in El Salvador. The 18th Street gang is gone. So you have an illegal alien from El Salvador. Bill, where are we supposed to send the illegal alien from El Salvador?
You haven't even
to
allowed
what
me to
country?
ask you a question. Are you convinced he is still a member of MS-13? That was your original charge.
Yes. But here's the thing, Bill. Yes, but here, not only am I convinced of it, not only is El Salvador convinced of it, Bill, he's an illegal alien from El Salvador.
Is the president going to ask for him to be returned to the United States or not? Like, yes or no?
Let me ask you, what do you think would happen to him if he came back to this country? As your understanding of immigration laws, what do you think would happen?
But I'm just asking
it's
this
important
way
to know.
about whether
You're
or
asking,
not
you're asking a lot of questions.
The president,
you're asking.
plans
You
to
were
ask
all
us
asking a lot of questions about this, and you also care about it a lot. So let's see if any of you have researched anything about this issue at all. Can anyone here tell me what would happen to the illegal alien from El Salvador if he came back to the United States? Does anyone here know? Does anyone want to guess? Any of you?
He could be with his family.
Do you know the difference between a deportation order and a withholding order? Do you know the difference? Any of you, please. Do you?
Well, we're not in the government.
But you didn't spend. So you couldn't even spend. You couldn't even spend 72 hours over the weekend learning the distinction, even you've been writing and talking about it this whole time. What I'm getting from this conversation, which is educational for me, is that not one person in the media knows the difference between a deportation order and a withholding order. Is that a fair statement? You're learning about this all for the first time right now? I guess so. Okay. So the deportation order means the judge has said he must be deported from the country. He has no right to remain here any longer. He must be removed from the country. So his only options are to be deported to his home country or another country. That's it. There's no other option. He doesn't get to stay here. He doesn't get to live here. He has no future here. He has no right to be here. He's an illegal alien. So when you keep saying return, because you've been spun up by the open borders advocates, you all seem to be operating under the illusion that he would be able to come to the United States and just continue to live here illegally. That's not an option available to him. His only choices in life are to live in El Salvador or to live in another country. That's it. There's no other option, legally or otherwise, because he came to our country illegally. Do you understand that? He would be arrested. Okay. He'd be put in confinement. He would be deported the second time to El Salvador again, because there's no withholding order for an alien who's a member of a foreign terrorist organization, number one. Number two is the gang that he's a member of doesn't exist in El Salvador anymore. So what you're asking for is to be deported twice. But additionally, if we chose to just pretend that the withholding order was real, he would be deported to a different country. So, for example, he could be deported to Egypt. So I'm just trying to understand, is it your view, in other words, you define a country that would be willing to take a MS-13 member from El Salvador. So I'm trying to understand from you all is, so if he came back and under our laws he was then deported to Egypt or to Somalia, would you then be saying, great, I'm so glad that you deported him to another country? Is that what you'd all be saying?
It is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation. Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, which is one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president. Singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. Indeed, the existential threat to democracy is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers of the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people.
I thought that was significantly shorter, but whatever the case was, again, Steve Miller killing it. This guy, Trump was talking about him possibly being an NSA, the National Security Advisor. Holy, can you imagine? Dude, so kind of loud almost. Oh, that's freaking me out. I'm like, I did more stories. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that's very funny. That said, let's get this back up. There we go. Now we're talking. So again, what's going on with the illegal aliens at this point and how this is being remedied, and the fact that the courts are, for the most part, kind of deciding on some of this stuff today, or at least how the districts should work. There's a lot of questions. It's around the anchor baby concept, right? But that's actually Trump's, like, they're trying to come at it from a whole different angle. Like, first off, let's rein in how these injunctions are going. This is insane that they're doing national level injunctions when they're just in a district. That's way outside of their spectrum. And this is happening way too much. Newsom is wanting to freeze Medicaid for illegal adult aliens. Again, this is him having to play the game, probably also because he wants to get some federal money. But it does definitely demonstrate he knows that if he's ever going to have a chance into the presidential spotlight, if he is anything like the other side has been, then no Democrat will ever win again. They'd be like, I'm going to open the border up. I'm going to knock down all the walls. I'd be like, dude, 80 or 70% of the population's voted to stop what was happening. Are you kidding? We don't want to go back to that. So I don't know how they spin that, but it seems like Gavin Newsom, I think, is trying to go in that direction. Senator Joni Ernst hits the brakes on the Green New Deal for trains. This is the one where they were trying to make trains zero emissions, which is stupid. Too much freight is hauled. There's a whole bunch of, like, I guess puns, I guess. She says, I'm derailing another Green New Deal mandate coming down the tracks. Really? A double pun in one sentence? We have to keep California's crazy train ideas from leaving the station. Railroads play a critical role in transporting the goods that our farmers produce and that we rely on every day. And the idea of zero-emission trains is completely off the rails. So, again, this is fantastic, right? That's fantastic how many puns are in there. So, anyway, she's trying to put a stop to that. Again, Gavin Newsom still saying, though, no, but even though we've got huge budget deficits that he's working through, he's still planning on spending $1 billion per year for high-speed rail. Now, here's the thing. I want to know exactly where that $1 billion is going, exactly where that $1 billion is going. Then I want to know exactly who is like the primary owners, CEOs, whatevers of those particular companies. I want to know what they've actually done, and I want to hold them accountable. And this is something he's not. I bet this is $1 billion going to his buddies. Other than that, they're like, yeah, we're like way over budget, and we have zero stations built. We're way behind schedule, over $100 billion over budget. And so they still want to spend, $1 billion a year. To what? To do what? Whose pocket's that going into? I want to know what companies those are. That's what I want to know. We'll see if we can ever get some of those answers. California approves up to 38% property insurance rate hike for State Farm customers. So they mandate you have something. They don't properly govern. They don't properly rake the forest. They don't properly take care of things. They're not properly filling the fire reservoirs. They're not properly making sure fire hydrants not only, one, work, but two, aren't getting stolen. They're not doing anything. And then now we get to get raped by insurance companies because there's so much damage that keeps happening here. This is the, hopefully the thing that smacks a lot of these basic people in the heads. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. This hopefully smacks a lot of people in the head, and they're like, we seriously cannot keep governing our state this way. It's not working. Now, whether you like the left or the right, whether you like it, I don't care. Is it working? No. Resounding no. So are we going to keep doing the same thing? I mean, one would assume they're going to keep trying to do the same thing, but hopefully pull our heads out of our collective arses. Republicans advance a bill with steep cuts to Medicaid as part of the Trump agenda. They got it out of the committee, which it probably was along partisan lines. I like what they're talking about with the cuts to Medicaid. They need to cut a bunch of money. Medicaid's one of the places we can. It's one of the things that's being abused. And there's a lot of people that are like, but hospitals are going to close down. If there's hospitals that are so dependent on fake people, illegal money, illegal immigrants, if there are hospitals literally that's the only way they stay open, then they should close. It makes sense. That's a good idea. And if we have to put some sort of clinic or something that can handle emergencies if necessary, but maybe we don't need a big giant hospital. There's this weird gotta hold on to how things were. And it's like, no, we are finally going to a new world. It is going to be fabulous once we get there. Donald Trump, huge post talking about this birthright stuff. I don't know if this is, yeah, it is, I think, where it's supposed to be, I hope. Yeah, cool. Big case today in the United States Supreme Court. Birthright citizenship was not meant for people taking vacations to become permanent citizens of the United States of America and bringing their families with them, all the time laughing at the suckers that we are. The United States of America is the only country in the world that does this. For what reason, nobody knows. But the drug cartels love it. We are, for the sake of the being politically correct, a stupid country. But in actuality, this is the exact opposite of being politically correct. And it is yet another point that leads to the dysfunction of America. Birthright citizenship is about the babies of slaves. As conclusive proof, the Civil War ended in 1865. The bill went to Congress less than a year later in 1866, and it was passed shortly after that. It had nothing to do with illegal immigration for people wanting to scam our country from all parts of the world, which they have done for many years. It had to do with Civil War results and the babies of slaves who our politicians felt correctly needed protection. Please explain this to the Supreme Court of the United States. Again, remember, the Civil War ended in 1865, and the bill goes to Congress in 1866. We didn't have people pouring into our country from all over South America and the rest of the world. It wasn't even a subject. What we had were the babies of slaves. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Good luck with this very important case. God bless America. And of course, a modest request, it seems. The Supreme Court hears challenges to the national or universal injunction as well, it seems. Today they are going to be hearing 3 consolidated cases, Trump versus CASA, C-A-S-A, on the growing use of national or universal injunctions, right? I guess this matter is submitted on the shadow docket. I didn't really know about the shadow docket. That's kind of cool. And the underlying cases concern the controversy over birthright citizenship. However, the merits of those claims are not at issue. Instead, the Trump administration had made a modest request for the court to limit the scope of the lower court injunction to their immediate districts and parties, challenging the right of such courts to bind an administration across the nation. The case is the consolidation of 3 matters: Trump v. CASA out of Maryland, Trump v. Washington out of Washington State, and Trump v. New Jersey out of Massachusetts. These cases also present standing issues since the administration challenges the argument that there is a cognizable injury to individuals who may travel to the states bringing the actions. However, the main question is the scope of the injunctions, right? So they try to get into it. They talk about how many injunctions are happening against Trump and how it started up again. So, rather than arguing a question presented on birthright citizenship to the administration, they're solely looking for limits on district courts as appeals continue on the important constitutional questions raised by birthright citizenship. So it seemed like they wanted to kind of grab this other thing while they were there. I don't know. We'll see. There was some, I do have a little bit of audio of Clarence Thomas talking. That's why he got the thumbnail. I said many of us, of course, will be watching 3 members most closely: John Roberts and, of course, Elena Kagan and Amy Coney Barrett. Curious where they all vote. Roberts is the ultimate institutionalist, and we should see in his argument how he views the impact of such injunctions on the court system as a whole. He is very protective of the court's inherent authority, but may also have misgivings about the scope of these orders. I think the Supreme Court, to me, it should be 9-0. First off, Supreme Court's law of the land. In district courts, in every case that's really ever happened, it should be for the people suing, not larger than that. If they do want to they talk about this, if they want to make it a class action, great, make it a class action. To make it a national class action, there's some extra hoops to hop through. If you pull it off, sweet. Now we got a class action that you could literally shut it down across the great nation, and that's great. That you accomplished what you needed to do, and you did it the right way. Fine. If not, then it should just be the plaintiffs, whoever's doing the lawsuit. And if that's a union, well, they might be in a bunch of states, or it just might be certain union employees even only. But it can't go further than that. And so we'll see. Again, hopefully, I think I think the court's actually going to probably do good on the district overreach. How they handle the the children born here, I don't know. I think that one's going to be split. But 5-4-6-3, maybe we'll see. But that's going to be interesting because it really the time of it. I mean, what Trump said, 100% correct. He even said it twice. That's how important it was. Here is Clarence Thomas. I don't know if this is an open mic or a hot mic, but I think this is actually in the trial thing. But he's asking a pretty solid question. Helps us understand where this injunction function started.
General, when were the first universal injunctions used?
We believe that the best reading of that is what you said in Trump against Hawaii, which is that Wirtz in 1963 was really the first universal injunction. There's a dispute about Perkins against Lucas Oil going back to 1940. And of course, we point to the court's opinion that reversed that universal injunction issued by the D.C. Circuit and said it's profoundly wrong. Now, if you look at the cases that the either party cite, you see a common theme. The cases that we cite, like National Treasury's Employment Union, Perkins against Lucas Oil, Frothingham in Massachusetts against Mellon, going back to Scott against Donald, and all of those are cases where the court considered and addressed the sort of universal, in that case, statewide issue of provision of injunctive relief. So when the court has considered and addressed this, it has consistently said you have to limit the remedy to the plaintiffs who are appearing in court and complaining of that remedy.
So we survived until the 1960s without universal injunctions.
That's exactly correct. And in fact, those were very limited, very rare, even in the 1960s. It really exploded in 2007 in our cert petition in Summers against Earth Island Institute. We pointed out that the Ninth Circuit had started doing this in a whole bunch of cases involving environmental claims.
That dude's excited that's talking. Like, he loves this stuff, man. He eats this stuff for breakfast. Like, his poor voice can't even keep up with him. It's like just disintegrating at real speed, at real time. The Department of Justice has urged the Supreme Court to permit DOJ to access the Social Security records. This was back on May 13th, I guess. They wanted to have access. Trump issued the executive order back on January 20th. Let's see here. I thought there's things I swear to God I thought they already said were happening. But it might have been the Department of, I think it was Homeland Security was allowed to look at Social Security records. That case has been passed. So this is a different case. But Solicitor General John Sauer, he argued in the new filing that the lower courts have overreached and are attempting to turn themselves into the Human Resource Department. Now here's the powerful thing is if, in fact, and this is why I think Trump wants it so badly, and he should, if in fact the courts decide that, look, here's the thing, we they can only do the judge and the plaintiffs, or their district and the plaintiffs, and that's it. You get outside of that, you got to do a class action. That's a whole different thing. And if you can pull it off, sweet. But otherwise, that's it. That's all you get. And if that happens, all of these stoppages are done. Done. And the deep state's ability to stop Trump has just been shut down to a minuscule, and they're done. They're powerless. And I would say the next step after that, and this is the one that's putting Trump's life in the most danger, is the pharmaceutical companies and not being able to advertise. The second they pull that away, they're going to shut down so much. It's going to be brutal. And I'm wondering if New Zealand's smart enough to go with us at the same time, in which case that's going to make it extraordinarily difficult for the pharmaceutical companies. And a lot of people have a lot of stock in pharmaceuticals, that's part of the problem too. This stock thing's a mess. And it kind of gets us in a lot of trouble because there's obviously this expectation that, well, you can't crash the system because everybody's going to go broke. And it's like, yeah, we're trying not to, but you guys it's a big deal. Big deal what's happening. FBI says malicious actors are using text messages and AI-generated voice messages to impersonate senior U.S. officials to target other state and federal government officials. Literally, they're using, this is probably China, or the just deep state. I want to say it's the deep state. Could be the CIA once again. But literally pretending to be like their bosses and stuff and ask for things. And yeah, that's probably not legal. Ed Martin reveals the J6 pipe bomber probe shakeup. Warns the DOJ is much, much, much worse than people realize. We'll play this. No, that's the whole show. But he was, Yeah, he was on his way to cleaning up Washington through the U.S. Attorney's Office until the Senate Republicans killed that. Well, he's now going to go after these guys, this other approach. And, he's going to be looking at all this corruption that's going on. So it's going to be interesting what he can probably help with. But the fact, the pipe bomber thing, this unresolved, he says, expressing frustration with the investigation's lack of progress, wondering whether the lack of answers may have been intentional. Said the pipe bomber, as a prosecutor, I've got the pipe bomber case in my office, Martin told Carlson. Martin revealed FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino told him that the Bureau had reassigned agents to the case. However, the renewed effort was still in its early stages. It's been going on for 5 weeks, Martin said, likening the past probe to the bumbling Keystone cops. So it's he's giving them shit. It's like, what is going on? This should not be that difficult. And one's got to wonder. And I mean, was it even a pipe bomb? It's one of the other questions too. But yes. So there's a number of things. It's just accountability. There's a number of things that we don't really truly know that they're finally getting documents for that they didn't before. I mean, so whatever. Our situation's a mess, but we do seem to be kind of heading in the right direction to clean it up. One thing that kind of just struck me as strange was United Health Group. They slammed this Wall Street Journal report as deeply irresponsible. Right? So first off, Wall Street Journal, left-leaning. Second off, United Healthcare Group. That's that company where the dude, the CEO, was shot on the street by that Luigi Mangione guy or whatever it is, right? Right, that guy from Super Mario Brothers. So shoots him on the sidewalk with some weird-ass gun. Like, it's really weird. And then everyone starts to make him like a hero. I don't know if you guys saw that part happening, but they all kind of turn him into a hero, make him like amazing. So this is like, all right, this is obviously the wrong side of the fence. The United Health Group people attacking them, and like they're being attacked. United Health Group is being attacked for some reason. So the CEO gets killed by the same group that, glorifies it. And then now their stock price, because of this story coming out that they're being looked into by Medicare for Medicare fraud. And so their stock is plummeting. And I'm kind of wondering if the CEO that got shot was actually blowing the whistle on it. And it's like, we're making numbers up. And he's like, I could go to jail for this. I'm not going to be quiet about this. And that's why he probably got shot. So this is a scandal that is probably weirdly like an iceberg, right? Like we're seeing the top of it, and it's freaking crazy, and we're seeing a bunch of it. We're studying it, we're noticing it, we're like, oh my God. And the stock is crushing down. I think they said 17%. Yeah. It's this session, I guess. It's 58% on the series of negative news. Just so it's crashed a bunch. The stock's gotten hammered. Why? Right? One's got to wonder. And is it because they broke open something that's probably happening in other places? Like some little code there, some little thing, something like a bunch of these people, these healthcare companies, whatever. Did he just bust open the biggest thing ever? So they're still crying. United Health Group's like, no. Shut up with these stupid stories. Give us a chance to get back on our feet. Trying to go back to the old ways, probably? What do you think? Curious. Put it in the comments. Hey, hit the thumbs up, too, if you could, please. It helps me, guys. And subscribe for some reason if you're not subscribed. Is Doge starting to work? Deep tri-state jobless claims surged. This was one thing I've talked about. Not a lot, but I've definitely talked about. And with Trump, firing as many people in government as he is, obviously that puts people out of jobs. And they're going to go to unemployment at some point, right? Right? Once they're 2 weeks severance or 4 week or I don't even know, 6 months. I don't even know what he gave him. I don't know if he gave him anything. But those people would eventually go on unemployment. Of course, they're government workers. What else are they going to do? So that spike needed to happen. What I think is also occurring, that's why Trump's trying to bring in more jobs. And this overlap is going to be a little, so we're going to get rid of a bunch of people. They're going to go on unemployment. 6 to 9 months from now, we should start seeing some of the jobs showing up. Maybe sooner when you think about construction, right? There's a lot of people that get pulled into construction, and honestly, construction is probably going to become a job that a lot of people are going to do. And you could say, I don't know how to do anything in construction. First off, hopefully you can learn. But second off, can you hold a sign? Do you know how to spin it to stop and slow? All right, you're hired, right? There are jobs for you, I promise. So we can make this happen. Hopefully we can do it smarter than that and get a sign that does it for us, and we can have you help do other things. But whatever, my point. Yeah, jobless claims spiking a little bit. Meh. That's kind of expected. It's early still. I think we're going to see some of that. Again, I think it's going to tie into stocks and stuff like that too. They're like waiting for any bad news. It was funny as I read one of them. I read a bunch of stuff from Zero Hedge. They're just really good, and they have a lot of. I like their angle. I like how they come at stuff. I like how they think. It helps. It's like me bouncing ideas off my own self, which I do talk to myself too. But it's nice to have Tyler over there doing some of the same stuff. But we are going through a huge transition, and the way the economy is working, the way the stock market, the way there's so much like. It takes the smallest bit of bad news to cause a bad day, and then you get some sort of good news, and then it goes up, but then it goes kind of flat again because the stock market's so blown up right now, and it needs to adjust somehow. And what needs to adjust, if it's specific companies or if it's just the overall volume of money that's in it, I don't know. That's outside of my pay grade for sure. Or if it's just the weird valuations of dollars, because there's so many dollars, and people, I think, it's one of the things I think people are doing around the world that have dollars is maybe buying stocks with them. What else are you going to do with them? So then you own a company, and at least you own something, and you might be able to trade that out for something else or buy some other stocks that are whatever. Who knows? Trump and Qataris agree to a $1.2 trillion economic commitment. This is very cool. It's all over the place, by the way. All over the place. It's worth, they're saying, roughly about $1.2 trillion. So, yeah, some of the breakdowns. Let's see, we got $243 billion for the Qatari Airways, $96 billion agreement with Boeing and GE Aerospace to buy as many as 210 American-made Boeing 787 Dreamliner and 777X aircraft powered by GE Aerospace engines. That's insane. What I hope is that Boeing can become great again. They're going to need to. And they're going to need to get Donald Trump his frickin' 747s. And they better be immediately all over that. They better be shifting people to it. I mean, they got the F-47 thing going, and they got to get that going too, please. So ramp it up, Boeing. Get your shit together, please. Please. My grandpa retired from you guys. I'm glad that we're going to see Boeing make Boeing great again. Make Boeing MB8G. It doesn't, yeah, you can't really make that sound fun, but whatever the hell. Almost said. So yeah, big plane deal. That's a huge plane deal. First off, Qatar, how many freaking planes do you actually need? 210. That's obviously got to be over like a 20 years or some shit, but damn, that's a crap ton of planes, man. Anyway, whatever. I got issues. Boeing's largest wide body, right? Yeah. What is it down here? We got more. 30 projects totaling $97 billion. There's Parsons Corporation, a joint venture agreement between Al Raban Capital and Quantinuum to invest up to $1 billion in state-of-the-art quantum technologies and the workforce development. This goes. We're going to learn to automate a lot of stuff, a lot of the factories. This is why they're going to be great in America again, and this is really the smart way to do it. And Trump knows that. If you build it where a lot of the stuff that needs to be precise, it needs to be perfect, welds, stuff like that, you get machines to do it, you're just going to be better off. And, you know, welders unions don't care when it's a machine, right? Because they're not involved anymore. So honestly, I would say most of the union jobs that have typically existed are going to be the ones that they're going to try the hardest to replace with machines, because the unions have just been such asses. I mean, the unions have ruined it for a lot. And then I think from there, I think just having the trade skills and stuff. I think trust me, and I think they're going to train people to have training programs. There'll be a lot of stuff that's needed. A lot of cool jobs. They bought a bunch of those Reaper drones, $2 billion worth, which is a crap ton. I get it. And they're also doing a bunch of Raytheon stuff to help fly them and automate them and all that good stuff. What else? They got $38 billion investments, including support for burden sharing at the air base out there. So maybe we are going to help upgrade that. Sounds like it. And then we get to use it, sounds like. So $142 billion in arms deal with Saudi Arabia. So anyway, a lot of good stuff. Trump just made our country richer, for sure. So stocks are flattish. They were down a little this morning, but yeah, they're not. They're reasonably flat. They're up a little, half a percent. Nasdaq's down a little bit. Gold's up a little bit. Well, $50. I mean, it's relative. Oil was up, but now it's kind of dipping down a little again. It is what it is. But I tell you, drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. I just don't think their system is a good place to be, guys. Stay in it too long, and who knows? I feel like we've had plenty of warnings, like the top is tipped. It's like starting to wobbling bad. That's when you want to probably think about diversifying out, because don't know how long or where or what, but some stuff's got to go down. It seems like. It just seems like it has to. You don't want to be caught holding the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. If you've got a 401k or an IRA, boom, up to 10% free silver just for diversifying out. That's fantastic. It's one of the things that I'm really, really good at. Also, if you just want some precious metals, same 4 data points, and you've got some pretty awesome stuff happening, and you get that ball rolling. You also have a chance at this half-ounce coin, which is very, very groovy. And we got a book. We've got the gold and silver kit. Learn how your IRA, your precious metals IRA, and it's actual physical metals, folks. Physical metals that you physically own. It's kept in a location away from you. Otherwise, that would be the same thing as giving you the money. As much as you can say, I won't spend it, they don't believe you. And it's not Goldco that doesn't believe you, it's the government. And they probably shouldn't. Let's be honest. Come on, fess up. How many of you guys would probably, consider it your own, even though you'd say it's not? Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of it tax-free, penalty-free, right? Move it over sideways, get it on going. There's a lot of steps to it. Goldco makes it extremely easy. They're the best customer service I've ever seen, and they will answer every question that you have, and they know what they're doing. They've been doing this. They've got all the ratings that you can properly imagine. Everybody that uses them has been stoked, and gold and silver, the amounts are going to be going up. That's one of the things that is, the dollar's the Fed's going to get blamed. There's still a lot of stuff that's coming, folks. I don't know how far out it is, but you probably want to get in sooner than later in the sense of the prices of gold going up. It's sitting at a nice place at $32.50 right now. It was up to almost 35. It's going to go back up. That's what it's been doing. It's just all right? So get in on it while you can. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you. And we know, again, they want to. FBI, the group that was helping Jack Smith's public corruption squad, I guess they were called, they've been shut down. Yeah. Bah, bah, bah. Right? Done. I gotta get my, there was a sound effects button thingy. You can put shit like that on there. I gotta set that thing up one of these days. I work too much, guys. I seriously do. Way too much. I wanted to hear this. How long is this? 3.5 minutes. Sweet. This is O'Keefe. One of his videos popping up right now about being on the island. I don't know. Just saying. Might be cool. I haven't seen it yet. We're going to watch together. Check it out.
Today we release more never-before-seen video and images from inside Jeffrey Epstein's former island home, showing bizarre statues and a cryptic message written on a chalkboard by Jeffrey Epstein himself. The Jeffrey Epstein Island, also known as Little St. James in the Virgin Islands. Last time we took you inside the kitchen to show that really creepy image of a baby in a sink. YouTubers have snuck on the island. Luke Radowski, Tyler Olivier getting images of the outside of the structures. But today we're going to take you inside the structures, inside Jeffrey Epstein's library. We're going to take a closer look. Now, this has never been seen before. We are now inside the library. Dozens of books line the walls, including literature like Ernest Hemingway's Selected Letters, vacation reads such as Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Ultimatum, denser titles like The Golden Age of Theoretical Physics, and Salman Rushdie's Satanic Verses. Now, a closer inspection revealed unusual objects, statuettes of winged figures in plague masks, and one of a semi-nude young woman washing herself while seated on a bidet. Video and photos inside the library also show a horse whip, which is right here under the chalkboard, apparently crafted from leather and bones. And then we go to this chalkboard over here. Now, this chalkboard displayed cryptic words, including the word power, deception, mirror in face, dank brain, among others. Now, the chalkboard's message remains a mystery, and we're hoping that some of you in the audience can help decipher and ascertain what Epstein might be talking about here. This is, again, right after he was arrested. We compared the words on the chalkboard to a note Epstein wrote in his prison cell before his death. Several letters and letter combinations from the note match those on the chalkboard, which leads us to believe they were in fact written by Jeffrey Epstein. And we're not sure what this means, but we're hoping you in the audience can take a look at this and tell us what you think he was trying to say here. Was it a message he was sending to the world? We're receiving a lot of images, videos, and photos as a result of our reporting. These sources reaching out to us include those within the government, people who don't trust anybody, including our own Department of Justice. These people are reaching out to us on Signal at 914-491-9395. We're currently corroborating the material, producing the material, backing it up on secure drives, and producing our very next Epstein report, which should come out tomorrow. The type of journalism that we do is not free. We just got sued yesterday. We have to hire lawyers to defend ourselves. As you know, we've been raided by the FBI. I've been arrested by the FBI. None of this is inexpensive. Our subscribers get these reports first with exclusive behind-the-scenes footage coverage. By subscribing to O'Keefe Media, you allow us to be independent, free from advertising pressures or donor pressures, and you enable us to operate impartially and without fear. Subscribe to OMG today, and you will get our next Epstein report first via email. Stay tuned.
You guys notice the white rabbit? I don't know if you guys noticed that. There's a white rabbit. Follow the white rabbit. It's always an Alice in Wonderland thing. Always, always, always. Yeah. U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba. Yeah, we like her. She is personally in court today, prosecuting Newark Mayor Ras Baraka for infiltrating the ICE facility. She's literally they're fighting the fight. And the dude did what he did. He was told to not, and he kept going. He's probably guilty. I don't know if it's a felon. It's technically a felony because you're on a federal facility, and that's not allowed to do that. I don't care who you think you are. It's a federal facility. Trump's committing to big pay raises for the troops. He talks about it out with the Middle East. He had a pretty cool speech that he did out there. He's a good man. He's a good commander-in-chief, too. I think a lot of people love him. Chris Hansen catches Black Lives Matter, and he's, I guess, one of the activists and one of the rioters. His name's Aston Mack. They caught him in a child sexting. I don't know who the dude is, but whatever. They're making a big deal about it, so I assume he's one of the higher-ups, which is pretty cool.
Please, dude, I said no. Literally have the sex trafficking line.
Get up. Get up. I'm not talking. Get up.
I'm not trying to anyone. Please. I literally said no. Can you grab my shoe?
Move.
So this BLMer's denying anything.
35-year-old Aston Mack, BLM activist, worked with challenged children in Orlando, claimed to me that he had the sex trafficking hotline number on his phone in his pocket, was just going to help this girl out. But the texts tell a very different story.
There's like four dudes like, I'm tackling him. I'm tackling him. Fuck it. Get him. Pretty funny. Everyone tackled. Everybody tackled. Everybody gets to be a winner today. That guy, yeah, he's a big boy too, by the way, right? So fair enough. Yeah. So Starmer's he was like, he zigged, and I was digging where he was zigging. Now he went back to the zag. I'm like, I don't like it when you zag, bro. I think when you zag, you suck. You're not nearly as cool when you're zagging. When you're zigging, all right, bro. All right. You're on the right track. Zagging? What the fuggity fug? I don't even get it, man. I don't get it. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, still sounds German to me, I don't know why, is reportedly planning the so-called youth mobility scheme with the European Union, partially undoing the post-Brexit termination of free movement. It's kind of seems like maybe trying to do this sort of middle ground thing that the Brexiters are going to kind of be okay with, and the Remainers, as I guess they're called, will want to rejoin. Brexiters are going to cry betrayal. Like, nobody's going to like this, is what it sounds like. So it sounds like they're trying to, reset UK-EU relations, but easing immigration from European Union. Like, we can't afford that anymore. But that's like the big thing with the EU is you have to take immigrants from, by the way, a place that seems outside of the EU. A lot of them seem to be down, in the Middle East and Africa. So I don't quite get the reasoning for it. And like, if there are a bunch of people that are like causing people to be scared, so millions flow, why don't you just attack the bad guys? Why don't we just take them out of business? Doesn't that make more sense? Get the whole world on board with that, and then you let these people like have their land back, hopefully. Powerful earthquake shakes Turkey as Zelensky and Erdogan. Erdogan's how Trump said it, by the way. I thought that was interesting because I had someone try to correct me. It's Erdogan, they say, but Erdogan is how Trump said it, so I like that. I'm just going to say it that way. That feels good, too. But so Erdogan and Zelensky held talks. Zelensky was not happy at all. He was being a little bitch. I'm going to call a spade a spade. He was pissed that nobody showed up. Trump and Putin didn't show up. Here's Trump talking about it.
Happens on Thursday. If President Putin doesn't show up in Turkey for the talks with Ukraine, what will you do?
Well, I don't know if he's showing up. I know he would like me to be there. And that's a possibility. If we could end the war, I'd be thinking about that. Now, tomorrow, we're all booked out. You understand that? We're all set.
Will you move? He goes,
You will eat tomorrow. And so we have a very full situation. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't do it to save a lot of lives and come back. But, I think they're thinking about something. I don't know that he would be there if I'm not there. We're going to find out. Marco's going. And Marco's been very effective.
Yeah, so Putin didn't show up, spoiler alert, and nor did Trump. So Zelensky in Istanbul responded, said this is an insult of Putin sending junior officials to talks. I am here. He's being a little dick. You're getting your ass handed to you, brah. You've lost land. Nobody wants to give you any more weapons. You've gotten everything you're going to get. You're only coming to the table because you have nothing. And you're pissed off that you're not worth it to Trump and Putin. And you're not. You're not worth it. You're a little biatch, is what you are, sir. Lavrov brands Zelensky pathetic. You say tomato, I say pathetic. Claiming that even his foreign backers have been asking him to stop acting foolishly. That's such like a Russian word to me, like something they would, he's so foolish. I love it. He said he's a pathetic person, Lavrov added. Senior comrades later explained to him that he shouldn't act so stupidly and that negotiations were needed. So, yeah, he's sort of special. Let's call him that. He's the special guy. So Trump on Ukraine-Russia talks in Turkey, nothing going to happen until Putin and I get together. Because this is what the deal's all about, is Trump and Putin. It has nothing to do with Ukraine. Nobody cares what Ukraine thinks at this point. And no offense to Ukrainian people, but your government sucks, and you guys are in a tough place. I get it from that standpoint. We're trying to stop the war, so no more of you need to die. They're literally supposedly taking people off the streets to put them in the army for forced conscription. Ukraine's never going to recognize the occupied territories as Russia, Zelensky says. Now, I doubt, I don't know, but I doubt that that's required. I think ultimately what Putin probably wants, and I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but I think, I don't know, I don't think he's going to keep the land. I think ultimately what he wants is a fair election. Let the people decide whether they just want to stay part of Russia. That, you know what, that's probably how I'll handle it. But there was always the possibility, like, what if you guys get someone in office that likes Russia, and then we wouldn't mind. Who knows, right? So, but they might just, very well become part of Russia forever. We'll see. I don't know. I know that Ukraine doesn't have anything to say about it. And then Europe doesn't either, because they can't afford to get missiles. They can't afford a war against Russia. Russia can afford a war barely against United States, but they were, affording a war. Against Europe? Easy. Easy. Please. They're going to get a few cool weapons here and there, but if they're going to probably, it's not going to work out well. This has to stop. U.S. opposes Zelensky's attendance at NATO summit. They're having a NATO summit, and he's like, I want to come, and they're like, nope, come on. Dude shows up, watch anyway, he's standing outside, pacing back and forth. These guys, they won't talk to me. They won't take me serious. Nobody takes you serious, dude. You're a clown. You're a former shadow of yourself. So nobody wants you around. You're bad news. You're bad time. Netanyahu charges Macron with despicable support for Hamas as spat deepens between them. Big surprise. French pissing people off. What are you going to do? Now, again, Netanyahu, there's this weird thing going on with Netanyahu right now. He is sort of being kind of put in the center of the room, if you will. U.S. sanctions Iranian and Chinese entities involved in intercontinental ballistic missile development, basically just trying to shut down these two groups. Treasury sanctioned, 6 persons and 12 entities? I don't know if we got all the names here. I don't know if they really matter. But, a lot of stuff that they were getting to make missiles, carbon fiber materials. We were given all this American components to build their own weapons. We didn't realize it. We're like, oops, sorry. Got to stop doing that. So, Treasury figured it out, and now we've got sanctions stopping all that, so it's cool. Top Iranian official says Tehran would forego highly enriched uranium in nuclear deal with Trump. Said would forgo. So, I don't know. We're hearing they might be willing to take the deal. So, of course, NBC not properly reporting wouldn't surprise me. We had Trump's speech a little while earlier, so I'm going to kind of assume maybe the timings even were slightly weird on those. Harvard's president is taking a 25% pay cut because, he sucked. It's the first time in the history of Harvard that Harvard lost an insane amount of funding. Many, 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 many billions of dollars of funding has been lost while you've been at the helm, Mr. Alan Garber. Close to baby food, but not quite. 25% pay cut? Dude, please. You should take how about no pay? How about you work for no pay for a year? Why don't you donate your pay to a charity? Because you don't deserve it at all. You don't even deserve a job, frankly. But, who else? What other douchebag are they going to put in place, right? I'm assuming the list is not very long, and it's probably quite distinguished. Whatever. Sick bastards. Donald Trump says he doesn't want Apple building products in India. Can you blame him?
And we have Apple, as you know, it's coming in. And I had a little problem with Tim Cook yesterday. I said to him, Tim, you're my friend. I treated you very good. You're coming in with $500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India. You can build in India if you want to take care of India, because India is one of the highest tariff nations in the world. It's very hard to sell into India. And they've offered us a deal where basically they're willing to literally charge us no tariff. So we go from the highest tariff, you couldn't do business in India. We're not even a top 30 in India because the tariff is so high, to a point where they have actually told us, I assume you too, Scott, you were working on that also, that there will be no tariff, right? Would you say that's a difference? They're the highest, and now they're saying no tariff. But I said to Tim, look, we've treated you really good. We put up with all the plants that you built in China for years. Now you got to build us. We're not interested in you building in India. India can take care of themselves. They're doing very well. We want you to build here, and they're going to be upping their production in the United States. Apple. So Apple's already in for $500 billion, but they're going to be upping their production. So it'll be great. So I
think some of it, too, is Trump's like, dude, I'm about to go to bat for all you guys getting sued and stuff by all these European countries and crap like that. I don't know if Apple's really been a part of that as much as the social media stuff, which we've got some news around them here coming up, too. Speaking of which, Meta antitrust trial. The FTC reveals Instagram exec warned of up to 40% fake activity on the Instagram platform. 40%. The executive, whose identity remains redacted in court papers, warned Mosseri that Instagram had misprioritized and underfunded our integrity efforts in its relentless pursuit of growth. In a memo attached to the email, the executive cited estimates suggesting that fake engagements could be in the range of 40%, a staggering figure that highlights the scale of the problem. A lot of the advertising dollars just goes to who's got their bots pointed at your particular stuff. Think of the famous people that typically always have the biggest accounts. And then the ones that maybe mock Trump and hate Trump, well, they get amplified too. Because there's a game, and yeah, if you want to be famous, folks, if you want to be famous, and it's all about clicks to you, that's all you got to do. Sell out. If not, we'll get there. Just funny stupidness. I don't know if you guys remember that super yacht that killed the British tech tycoon Mike Lynch and his daughter. They were in the bedroom. It sank. I think they were maybe the only ones that died in it. This was a big deal that happened Sicily last year. You guys might remember it. I don't think this was the one where the whirlwind or whatever picked it up and crashed it or whatever. I think that was a different one, but equally as strange. Maybe this was that one even. Who knows? I don't know. It's hard to remember exactly what the story was on this, but they're claiming that what happened is a huge wind, 117 kilometer per hour wind, hit it, and in 15 seconds managed to knock it completely sideways to the point where it basically sank, is what they're saying. So it's still ridiculous, but whatever. It is what it is. I don't know if you guys heard this. It's kind of a trippy story. CERN smashed two elements together, lead and something else, maybe lead and lead. I don't know. They apparently crashed lead atoms. Okay, head on. And so when they slam them together, basically they kind of fused for a period of time, and they were capable of creating gold for, I guess, just nanoseconds or whatever. But they managed to turn lead into gold by slamming lead into lead, and it created a heavier element at that point, which it's really all about number of protons when it comes to what element you are. That's the skinny of it. So yeah, add a few more protons and lead's now gold. That's basically what they did. They were using that Large Hadron Collider, CERN, all that fun, scary stuff. And I oftentimes wonder when they fire that up, what that does to the Schumann resonance. That's just one thing. People talk about it changing and getting weird and stuff. I'm like, okay, do any of us know when they fire that thing up? Do any of us know? And then do any of us know when they're firing it up to larger wattages versus lower wattage, right? Like, I'm just wondering. They're building a bigger one too, by the way. Bigger one. Like the other one's like, 17 miles or something like that? And the one's going to be 50-ish. It's going to be much bigger. So bigger, giant ring of magnets that they're going to spin something extremely fast. I mean, if you think of the speed of light, and it's just shy of that, but that's what 3.0 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. So at 300 million meters per second. I mean, you could travel miles really quickly, right? So this thing's like just doing loops. Whenever you spin something fast, I mean, that's when anti-gravity starts to happen. You got to wonder whether the days have been speeding up oddly over the past few years. I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of that. A lot of weird stuff. There was even a story that came out recently that said that stupid big-ass dam in China is the reason that the Earth is slowing. And it's like, that's stupid. No, there's something else probably. And there is stuff going on in our solar system. We've talked about that, but whatever the case is. Folks, a lot's happening. I've got, I think, one of the best Law of One shows that I'm going to be doing here in a hour-ish. You guys don't know it, but from where I am, it will be. This is fun. This one really breaks down the densities extremely well. Actually brings up Yahweh and Moses, which is kind of cool. It's interesting what he says about Moses. And again, just more good stuff. There is some discussions about just a lot. The densities, trying to understand it, and that starts to make a little more sense, and kind of really what graduation ultimately is, and or ascension, or what do they call it? Harvest. You know, what a harvest basically is, which is coming soon. Harvest will. And those that are ready will get through it, and those that aren't won't. And I really do think it has to do with the chakras, the lower chakras, the bottom 3 chakras. There's 7. I like to use the 7 chakra system. At least that's the one I'm more familiar with, and it works well with the colors of the rainbow, and just easier that way. But the lower 3 chakras are your physical realm chakras, and your upper 4 are your higher realm chakras. And really, your seventh is like that next octave kind of, but that's the one that really attaches to your higher self, to source, to whatever. So the jump between third and four is extraordinarily important, and I think literally is what needs to happen to be able to be harvestable. I think that really is that process of really going after love, living from the love center, and you start to live that way and yearn to experience that. And that's really kind of what fourth density is. Again, got to get all into it. It's a lot of fun. I love this stuff. Can't help it. I'm glad some of you guys are joining along with the ride. I think it's some of the most important information, at least that I'm teaching at this moment. Teach learning. All said. We're doing it together, guys, shoulder to shoulder, doing my best to help. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.